Hey guys, this video is my short review and summary of Success Principle 3 from Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles. So the third principle for success is to decide what you want. Principle 2 was to get clear on why you're here. So the next step Jack encourages everybody to take is to get really clear on what they want. Success, I guess, looks different for everybody, and to get where you want to be, you need to really define clearly where you want to be. Like, you need to know what you're working towards and define it in detail. So this chapter is all about getting really clear on the things that you want to have, experience, and be in this life. So it's really talking about what success means for you and defining it in detail, so then you can start to work on moving closer and closer towards it. He talks about our early subconscious programming and how we tend to have been influenced through our lives by our parents, teachers, coaches, people along the way who have maybe encouraged us to follow dreams or follow things that aren't necessarily what we want for us. We sort of all inherently know what we want, but perhaps we're pleasing other people, and our goals have become about what other people want for us rather than what we want for us. So it's getting really clear on the things that we want to gravitate towards and the reasons why. He talks about, when you were children, you just naturally gravitated towards the things you wanted, like the things you wanted to play with and the foods you wanted to eat and all that kind of stuff. But then you begin to get conditioned by your surroundings, and you start to do the things that people expect of you and people want of you, and then you kind of lose sight of your individuality and what you're trying to achieve and the things you want to do. So it's really getting clear on that. He talks about not letting other people's dreams become your own, and how we need to sort of stop acting in a way that sometimes is just to get approval from others, rather than acting in a way that is like truly authentic to what we want and the things we want to reach. So sometimes people really, study hard to please their dad, or they get married really young to please their parents, and they sort of start living this life that becomes about other people's expectations of them rather than the things that they want. So just become really aware of the reasons you're working towards, the things you're working towards, and making sure that they're authentically for you and not for anybody else. How we get back to the things that we really want, he suggests about starting small by just honouring your preferences in every situation, no matter how big or small. Stop settling for less than what you want and just start acting like you have a preference. So no more of this like, oh, I don't care, or you choose, or even coming down to like the simplest things like what to have for dinner or where to go to do certain things or that kind of thing. He's saying, well, if you did have a preference, what would it be, even to the smallest, most minute decisions? And I like that idea because I've always been like a pretty indecisive person, and I like the idea of taking a little bit more charge and saying, well, if I did have a preference in this situation, what would it be? Like, just get used to being more and more comfortable with like making decisions and going with your gut, and I guess trying to be polite sometimes and letting everybody else make the choices. Like it's fun, and it's okay to just start making more decisions and kind of playing around with it more. So I think that's a pretty cool idea to try and start just incorporating day to day. So it's like, if it did matter, what would I rather do? And you play with that with like the smaller choices, and then you can start to like work up to bigger things in your life. You can make bigger decisions. Instead of making other people's needs and wants a priority over your own, it just becomes a habit to start making more choices and taking more ownership. He talks about creating a list of 30 things that you want to be, do, and have before you die. So like, that should just be such a fun activity, because it's all the things that you want to do in life, that you want to experience it, like maybe all the trips you want to go on, all the cool places you want to visit, or the cars you want to own, or that home you want, or whatever it might be. Like that should be the fun part, right? Of thinking about all the things we want to experience in life. That this is kind of like where the fun comes in. So he talks about going over your list of all the things that you want to have, and then thinking of careers and jobs that can kind of incorporate these things. And that just comes down to deciding what you love to do. So to know where you want to go, you just kind of need to have that vision, I guess, and you need to know where you want to be in terms of your work and career, your finances, your health and fitness, recreation and free time, relationships, personal goals, and contribution to the larger community. They're the aspects of your life he thinks you need to really get clear and have, a clear plan and direction for each of them, and be really specific so you know what you're working towards in terms of becoming successful. And he said, don't focus too much on the how at this point. It's more just, you're not really sitting in the detail yet. You're more just figuring out where you want to go, just getting clear on it. And then the how tends to show up a bit more down the track. So he says, just really be clear on the vision, and then you can start moving towards it by setting the goals and then by taking the action and visualizing the outcome. Like, they're kind of the next steps. But until you know what you want to achieve, how are you going to know what you need to do to get there? He talks about the inner GPS and how it will just sort of continue unfolding the route as you go. And once you're clear on your vision, things just start to show up. You get opportunities, and it's more of that sort of, you get what you focus on, that opportunities show up, ideas, creative ideas sort of pop up. You start thinking more along that mindset, and then you start sort of seeing things in a new light and taking action in a way that you probably wouldn't have taken action before, when you didn't have the clarity that you have now after doing this principle. He talks about high achievers have higher and bigger vision. So don't limit yourself. Don't worry that you're aiming too high. There's that saying that it's not about aiming too high and missing the goal. The worst thing is if you aim too low and you achieve it. You want to be aiming high so that you can be creating all these great things. There's no point limiting yourself. What's the point? He kind of just says, whatever your vision is, if it's big, just let it be big. It doesn't take any more energy to create a big dream than it does to create a little one. Just go with what feels right for you, and don't let the world feel like a place of like scarcity and limited opportunity. Let it feel like a place of like no limits and real abundance, and go with that feeling when you're creating this vision for yourself. Don't hold back. The more you limit yourself, the more you're distancing yourself from what you truly want. So just go with having that big vision, and don't let anyone kind of be a dream stealer and or like a dream crusher and tell you that your goals are too big or your goals are impossible, whatever. Just go with it. It's your vision for your future, nobody else's. And he talks about how we create our future from our future, not from our past. So it doesn't matter what's happened before, it doesn't matter what's come before. It's all about the now and what's ahead. So think about creating your future from your future, and there's no limits there. That's exciting. So I think that's a cool way to approach it too. And being really clear on like detail as well. So an example, when you are clarifying your vision, say you're looking at finances, get really clear on what does your yearly income look like, what's your net worth, what kind of assets do you own, what does your home look like, is it near the water, is it near nature, what kind of interior is it. Get like really clear on detail. Don't worry about the how. Picture these things in clear detail. What kind of car are you driving, all that kind of stuff. Your ideal job, like what kind of company is it, are you running the company, are you working for someone else, are you managing something, do you work on different types of projects. Just define detail, even down to things of like what you do with your free time. How do you spend your free time? Is it with family and friends? Do you have heaps of time for hobbies? Do you take holidays? This is all sort of like playing with your dream life and picturing it, and thinking of it all the way down to like every little aspect and detail. So I think it's really fun. I love this principle because it is, where the dream life starts coming in, and you are defining why you want to be successful. What are the things that you want? So the first two success principles are quite daunting in terms of taking the full responsibility and then getting clear on why you're here. But then the third principle is like the fun of the detail of your dream life. That should be the part that's fun to look at, because it's getting really in line with what your vision is for your life. So have fun with principle number 3, and I'll be back soon with video 4. Thanks. Bye.